earlier when you were talking about you don't like going out, you don't like doing this and that. I'm thinking like, I feel like emotionally intelligent people, like people with high EQ, not IQ, but EQ, like emotional intelligence or emotional quotient, whatever that is. I feel like those people tend to be the most, like they're the most empathetic, but they're also the most antisocial in a sense. Like they're very empathetic and they care about everybody and they want the best for everybody. And in social settings, they might seem very social. They might seem like a social butterfly because they're feeling the energy of everybody. But that's actually really exhausting. And what they'd rather do is none of that and just be alone by themselves because it's like they're an energy vampire and everybody around them is like a beam of energy and they can't help but to gravitate towards it. And that's, like I said, exhausting.
Oh, it's so exhausting.
Yeah.
My mom said that phrase one time. She was like, "Oh, you don't feel anything." I was like, "Do I really? Do I gotta explain this to you?"
Yeah.
And she said it around the time like I heard my grandma died, and I heard her. She died in the house. Heard her take her last breath, and then my mom was like physically suffering during that process. And then, what you gonna do? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's already a sad moment, right? Am I gonna just cry with the family, or you gotta? And my dad not around, so I'm like, I'm the monarch of the family. My older brother's not around.
Yeah, you're the man.
So it's like, you don't feel anything. No, I have work tomorrow. I have to do comedy. My grandma died right before I started comedy. So I'm like, I cannot cry right now. I've got to still make people laugh, and I'm just learning that. You know what I mean? And I got to go to work Tuesday. And I think we talk about comedians are never really happy outside of that.
Yeah.
I always laugh, and I'm trying to be concise with like recapping my comedy journey. I had like 2 major deaths right before I started comedy. And then learning how to perform after that, I think is what boosted me past most open micers. Because like, Kaori, my new host, he knows about that. I got into a major car accident 2 days before my first paid comedy gig. And they said, "You're still coming." I don't give a fuck. They made me do 15 minutes for the first time. And I had a concussion on medicine. I had an injured leg limping. And I struggled through that 10 minutes. It was gangster. And I was actually asking him, "Can I get off early?" And you heard in the back, "Nope, paying you for 5 more minutes." And keep going.
Man.
And then the other one, I didn't know how to do clean comedy. It was my first show. And they had a Christian comic. I said, "Hey, is there going to be anybody there I should worry about?" He was like, "No, you're fine." There were kids in the room, old people, politicians. And the first person up was a Christian comic. And my first punchline was "fuck."
Did you alter your material?
Nope, I said "fuck." And looked that old woman right now.
How'd that go for you?
She wanted to fuck.
Oh, yeah. So it went well. You brought hell to that room.
You know what? I think the young people there, I learned a good lesson. When I first started, 'cause, I used to rap.
Yeah.
I was overwriting jokes. Well written, that's what we talked about earlier, presentation, and then the written stuff, right? The young people in the room were catching these bars. But the older people, I had to act it out more for them to get it. And because I refused to bomb, my theater came in.
Well, I feel like it's interesting because there can only be so much universality that is sacrificed for good art, right? So, like, how much are you willing to be universally understood versus unique and individual? Because that's kind of like commercialization and turning Hollywood and selling out. It's all that. Because I feel like to be truly creative is to stay kind of niche and stay in a pocket, because otherwise you kind of have to make sense to everybody and not everybody's going to get it. You know what I mean?
Well, it's a full circle, that and the story I started earlier. It took me years. Now that the death of my grandma is now my universal closing bit. So it took me a minute. Me running from my natural stories, what I wouldn't talk about, ended up being what made me a better comic. And then that works in every room. And what I didn't think about was everybody got a grandma. Death is natural. That is universal. All I'm doing is telling my story. And they'll relate into it in that fact.
Right, yeah.
So it was a very weird. And I was, the Ali Sadiq when he cried on stage, I was gonna like overdo it. Like, I was gonna try to get like sad and then bring it back high. I'm like, "You're doing too much, bro. Just talk about your grandma." And I don't do it in every room, but that was my first universal bit. I got like a sex joke.
Yeah.
That's universal, but that's not universal. It is and it isn't. And then a dead grandma joke. And when I just keep saying dead grandma loud, it's way more upbeat than what it sounds like. But I always like to break down jokes to their premise, because if you just look at what a joke is, it's fucked up. Normally.
I just look at the sticky notes. It's like just the idea.
So you beat her, and then you had, like, my universal sex joke is actually...
Trash baby store. What does that mean? What does that mean?
I kind of like, I don't know if it's weird or not, I like putting my foot in my mouth to work backwards. So
I think so. I find that I do that naturally. I don't even have to try.
Walk in the room and
yeah. I'll be like, why did I say that? You know, and then I'll break it down for myself in real time.
It's better.
You know what's so funny? That's my theory on Andrew Tate. I think that what Andrew Tate does is maybe not so much now, because he used to be a lot more fun to watch. I don't know what he's doing now. But when he was like at that top Tate, what he would do is he would go out, he'd make an absurd statement, and then he would try to qualify it. That was like the whole game. He'd be like, I'm trying to think of the most absurd thing. Like, women can't drive. They can't drive at all. And here are the statistics. And then all of a sudden he spends 15 minutes trying to find statistics on why women can't drive. And
that one time in 1994, there was 6.
And to me, that's the bit. That's what's so funny. I think he knows he's being ridiculous, and he's just picking the stupidest things to stand for.
That's what Bill Burr does.
Yeah.
He just throws out, I'm not saying you should beat women, but...
Yeah. I mean, a lot of comedy is like taking a firm stance on something ridiculous. I would say that. Like, or because it's a lot of it is stuff that might even be true, but it's taking such a firm stance on it. Like, nobody feels that strongly about this, you know?
It's so funny you say that. My cousin, who like spent last year going to shows with me more than most, and he was like, I don't think people realize you're joking most of the time. He's like, you just sound serious. You rarely are. Because the things that I fight for, why would I care that much? I just like, if I hear people talk, I'm like, I don't know why you're so strong about that point. So now I'm going to defend. I don't care about the Dolphins, doing whatever, but
now you have to. Yeah.
Do you want to know the point? I don't know if this is going to mess up the podcast.
That's a lot of ESPN, too, by the way, is like them fighting over random bullshit that they both don't even care that much about.
Do you think this team is the best team? I don't understand why you're fighting with me.
That's the show, dude.
Do you think it's weird? Okay, do I tell that? I don't know, fuck it up. At my birthday show, I had this argument at the after party. Yeah. If you wouldn't have sex with somebody, right? Mm-hmm. Why are you taking things off the table? Is that if you're willing to exchange germs, I see sex as dirty. Once you're touching somebody, you're entering their space. You're like touching on new planet land.
Oh, that's so much different than double dipping. So much. It's like double dipping times a million.
I ain't gonna lie to you. I still think about that. When people, I wish we could just do a show so you could see me. If you actually see how I move, I look like I'm very comfortable. But there's always moments if someone was filming, you would see me look down. I just accept that fate's about to happen. Like, when they're even handing me the drinks, I notice when we touch hands, like, we've just finger touched. Okay. And I'm not. My mom got OCD. Is that a little bit, or is that
probably
just
a touch? Just a touch. Because if you're not freaking out about it, you're still drinking the drink.
I'm still gonna take it, but I'm like, well, AIDS.
Yeah, exactly. That's not the full OCD, because OCD would be like, oh, I can't drink this anymore. I need a different glass. I need to carry a handkerchief with me and wipe off the glass every time that happens. Like, that's more OCD. Now, that's because OCD is like when you flip a light bulb 10 times because it makes you feel better. Yeah. So it's like, I feel like OCD is obsessive compulsive disorder, meaning like I'm obsessive and I'm compulsive. So when you hand me a cup and I'm having these obsessive compulsive thoughts, not only am I having the thoughts, but I have to act on the thoughts every single time. You don't act on the thoughts, it sounds like. It sounds like you just accept your fate. So I feel like today is AIDS Day. I'm getting AIDS today.
Or is that just a way of countering it? And I almost like this goes to another point of like...
Right, you're just making yourself feel better.
Yeah, I've learned to cope with like... I was talking to a girl and, wow, it's kind of what we were talking about. She was telling me that what I was saying was more theory than practice.
Meaning?
And so like I'm in the healthcare profession field. Like, and I put in quotes, I'm considered a healthcare professional, but I'm really just crazy. And like, so she was telling me that like, I said one man could change the world. Like, you literally could change your habits if you wanted to. Now, I know there are cognitive issues, right? But there are levels, right? Like, even when I'm in the psych ward, one of the jobs I work at, I have my patients would tell me, oh, I know what I'm doing. I just can't stop. Like, they're cognitive of it. But then there are other people who aren't as far on the spectrum who could just choose. I'm not saying your issue goes away, right. But it 90, 20 days. There is a certain time period to break a habit and start a new one, right? You could transfer that for another one. And I was telling her, if the term, two things can be right at once. it's very tough to change a habit in a community, but also one man can change the world. So if one person, all it takes is one person to make a change, and you believe in that, and you also, wouldn't that counteract the other one? That it's hard to change a society?
Yes, but I think that's why leaders exist. Like, you need leaders to show people who don't have that same form of self-discipline. You need to, like, instill that within others, and that's why leaders exist, because people don't naturally have that, you know? Like, I think leaders naturally think differently than other people. They naturally move differently than other people, and it becomes easier for them to do certain things. And I think it's like a lot of people just don't have that much self-discipline. You know, you look around the world and you talk to people. I just think that's what I find, is that most people don't tend to have the level of self-discipline they would need in order to be truly whatever they think is happy. And a lot of the time, the problems that people say they have can be chalked up to self-discipline more so than anything else. And that's not to say that there aren't real problems, but it's just that, you know, like what you just said, like you had an issue where, you know, or you saw people with an issue where some people could handle it and some people couldn't. And I would wonder how much of that is nurture versus nature, right? How much of it is in their nature and how much of it is in their actions, in their worldview. Because I think you can change the world in the sense that changing your own ideas changes your world, and that changes the world in turn. And everything is a butterfly effect, and people undervalue the currency of their actions, right?
Ooh. See, and you kind of said it, like, you also learn working in the healthcare profession, you can't baby them. And they appreciate that, right? So a lot of us, me just allowing you to defeat yourself doesn't help anybody. So I don't allow people at first to just let your situation affect you. I like just saying like, oh, I don't have enough discipline. It's not a good enough answer for me. Right. If you know that all it takes is for you to want it, that's really what it comes down to. I've told my friend earlier, I said, he wants to be a rapper. I was like, you don't want to be a rapper. It's fine. You don't really want it.
That's the right thing to say, by the way, because it's maddening. When people tell me they want to start a podcast, I want to tell them you don't want to start a podcast, because they don't. Then like want to be a rapper is the same thing, because it started with me with that, because I've always been a musician. And so you'll see so many people who will like make mixtapes. They'll even make music. So they are a rapper. But then it's like, okay, where is this music? Can I find it? Can I hear it? And it's like, no, it doesn't exist anywhere. I have a friend who he's a very close friend of mine, but he'll just say, oh, bro, listen to this. And he'll send me a 10-song tape every time we talk. It's like, dude, where is all the, if I go to your Spotify, where's all this music? Like, it's frustrating to me because he makes music. And so it's like people just don't seem to have, like, I don't understand it. Like, I really don't, because if you want to be what you say you are, wouldn't you then do the things that you would have to do? Or is it like a lack of self-awareness? Like, do you not realize the things you have to do? I don't understand, because you'll even see people with discipline fucking it up. You know what I'm saying?
It's because they don't want it. Like, that's why
they must not want it. Yeah.
That's why I want to be the Lex Luthor of the world. If I have to be the first person to tell you to quit, I will be that first person. That needs to be a job, right? Can I create a company to tell you, stop it?
Just
quit what you're doing.
Quit now.
You don't want it. You don't want this relationship. You don't want those kids.
It would be like negative business consultation. You know, you call it and you're just like the harsh business consultation guy.
No, I think it's loving. It's very loving to be like, you don't have to do this.
Well, it's dad love.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's dad
What's
love.
that, the Good Will Hunting? It's okay. Don't stop fucking with me. It's like, you don't want to rap. Stop it. Not you too, Sean. Don't drop that mixtape.
It's frustrating, dude, because there's so many people like that. And then you'll see them perform and you can tell they're kind of phoning it in and it all feels phony. I mean, comedians, there's comedians like that where they're comedians, but are they really? Like, do they really want to be a comedian? And like, I've learned how I've come to peace with it, because my eternal fight is to not be a hater. I can't be a hater. I gotta stop being a hater. So what it is I think that people just have different end goals, okay? And if your end goal is that you don't want to be a big famous rapper, you just want to drop a song every now and then, you want to say you're a rapper that makes you feel good, okay, I shouldn't be mad about that. But don't then try to compare yourself to me. You know, you're not me. And my pride will not allow that. You know what I'm saying? So I have to keep a balance. Because I think if you want to be good at something and you want to have good taste, you do have to kind of be a tastemaker and then define what is not to your liking. And I just learned there's so much stuff I don't like that has so much value in the market that people like. So I can't then say it's bad.
Why not be a hater? I'm team hate.
Because I think it like it turns people off in a way that you don't fully understand. Like, I think when you say like, oh, this sucks, you might be turning people away that would otherwise listen to you. And I think if you have a more balanced approach to things, even if you don't like it, if you can like take something away from it and have a more balanced approach, I think people then will then see more value in what you might say. People might write you off more if you just write other things off.
I am glad you said that. That is actual hate. I never use the word trash, garbage, sucks. It has to come with a proper critique.
I agree.
Like when you're like, oh, that's a great film. I mean, and I go, it's not a great film, but it's fun.
Yeah, because there's bad. Like I say all of this, and then I will say there is garbage. There is bad, and you have to say when it's bad, because nowadays there's more bad than there used to be, and I think people just give everything a pass. So you have to be careful being nice to things. But I also think people just people turn the complete other way, and they say everything sucks, and then the people who will forgive the thing and be nice to the thing, they're not gonna. It just becomes like tribalism. You know what I'm saying? No one's actually thinking.
That goes back to remember we did last time? I want to connect these dots. In my head, I'm like putting little pins in it.
Yeah.
Those times
you're good at that.
Comedy, or is that movie writing or comedy? I feel like both.
It's a little bit of both. Yeah.
We can't just
probably more script writing. Both. You're right. Both. Could be mixed. Because it's all context.
Because if we don't tie everything in when I leave today, it's gonna kill me. And I'm gonna have to. Fuck. We missed like 2 points.
Yeah.
This is gonna tie into a bit of everything we said.
It's gonna come full circle 6 hours later when you're in the car.
No, yeah. I will do that though. Like you ever have a conversation like fuck. Yeah. And that's where I will say I had to stop. People will hate me. I will keep that convo. Like it could be 6 months later. Mm-hmm. I will bring. At some point, I'll weave it in. Like, and remember when you were, or you remember when you. All right, my bad.
Where were we?
So I wanted to bring up when you're talking about like critiquing the stuff.
Yeah.
And how things change now, where it's weaker. I have a response for that. My friend who was a musician, we were arguing about "Squabble Up" by Kendrick and "Ride" by Chance. We were like kind of going album by album. We did Olivia Dean too. We were just checking albums, and I was saying what I noticed is, because he said Chance had the best rap album of last year, or whatever, and I said I put G and X up there. And the only reason why I say that is not based on my listening ability. I don't think a lot of music songs have structure that they had back in the day. And we were doing the song, meaning Chance's song, Ride, I listened to more than Squabble Up. I didn't even like the longer version of Squabble Up at first. But from a musicality standpoint, he literally touched far more. It's breakdowns, bridges, vocal changes, vocal tones, the cadence. To me, I believe in changing the style every couple 4 bars or so. That could just be me, or whatever. But if you look at back in the day when Prince was making music, or the tracks that were like 8-7 minutes long, they were always changing the style. Like nowadays, we have tracks that are consistent for like 60 seconds. It's too long.
They're consistent for albums.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You've got to. So like when me and him were having a debate, I was like, "Are you?" I stopped. And I was like, "Are you talking to me from a fan or a musician? Because you sound like a fan. Because if we want to argue listenability." As a random, I like the Chance song more. But if we're talking about from what Kendrick also made pop songs that were every track is about something.
Well, overall, I would say Kendrick is better at changing his flow and doing something different all the time. But just those 2 songs, maybe Chance wins, you know. But Kendrick's really, really good.
You wouldn't Ride over? We're gonna have this.
No, I don't agree with you.
Really?
I have to listen to Ride again. I'd have to listen to the 2 back to back to have a true, balanced, unbiased opinion. Kendrick's my favorite rapper of all time. So
then you should know, like, okay, here we go. Chance had a great, deep album. But but I don't think that he blended. This is unbiased. I don't think his verses matched his choruses as well in his track. I think his songs were conflicting, where Kendrick made a tighter body of work.
Yeah.
That made sense, and every track was deep. You just didn't all notice it. Like he was mentioning passages about the Bible in the Luther song. So you don't have to give a fuck about the Bible if you don't. But the passages he was talking about was also dissing Drake.
Yeah.
It was about the ruler change. I'm like, this is so well written. He didn't curse in the song at all. He had level changes. Your mom can listen to that. He sampled old school with the modern style. Just from a musicality standpoint,
yeah.
So that's what I mean. Like we could have a debate unbiasedly.
What was that song on that album too? The one where he did the Tupac flow and it was over a Tupac beat. You don't even have to know the Tupac song to understand what's happening. But then if you know all of that, it elevates it so much higher. You know what I mean?
So can't you have those type of arguments? That's why I say I'm team hater, because like, I'm trying to say I said it nicely, right?
I think Kendrick, what he does so well is he finds a way to. I mean, to that conversation of like being a hater, he somehow makes it so he perfectly blends old school with new school, I suppose, where it's like he has the style and flow and mentality of a 90s MC 100%. Like full stop. He thinks like you're supposed to think, in my opinion, as a rapper, and he approaches rap like an actual rapper. And in a world where people aren't even rappers anymore, that's like a foreign object. But somehow he manages to be the most commercially successful rapper right now. And like with the whole Drake beef, it elevated him to another level. But I thought he couldn't be any more famous than he already was. I thought after Good Kid, Mad City, amazing. So I thought after To Pimp a Butterfly, okay, now he's like legendary rapper of all time. There's no way he's gonna top this. And then the whole Drake thing happens like 10 years later, and now he's like super famous.
Now, how do you feel about that?
Well, it's the same thing where it's like he found, because he was going to go at Drake with the whole angle of like, you're not even real hip hop, and in the name of hip hop, I will come at you. And then Drake came at him with family stuff, and that's where it all goes off the rails. I want to say Kendrick said something about his kid though, because somebody pointed that out to me and I didn't realize that. Kendrick did mention you don't like raising your kids, you don't know nothing about Dot. Well, because Dave Free was what Drake said, but before that, in the first in Euphoria, Kendrick said to Drake, you know nothing about Dot, nothing about Dot, and he's talking about you raising your kids. And so you could argue that Kendrick made it about family first, but Family Matters is where Drake mentions Dave Free, and that goes, he's basically alleging that Kendrick's kid isn't his kid, and it's with Dave Free, and it was an affair.
But why do you think? I hate that they're trying to say that that's bad now. Like, the reason why art is suffering nowadays because it's not competitive enough.
Yeah, well, that's what the Control verse was for Kendrick. That was trying to bring competition back to hip hop. And if people don't remember that, it was like he name dropped a bunch of rappers. It was a song with 3 artists on it, and he was the third.
But
one.
he got out rapped that entire song, right? Kendrick. I mean,
it was Big Sean
and Jay out rap lyrically. That's what I'm saying. We can make unbiased arguments, right?
Yeah.
People just forget that art can be objective.
Yep.
Give me bars from. And Drake was right. Give me a bar from The Control. No one remembers a Kendrick bar. He just outperformed everybody. It was so great. But he didn't say anything.
Yeah.
He didn't say anything. And I feel bad that we can't, Big Sean's one of the greatest rappers of our time period from just a writing standpoint. Can you name a rapper who's changed their flow every album? No one does that. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying you gotta be a fan of Big Sean and anybody else, but we can't, I really want, why do people act like art can't be objective, or any topic you talk about, you can take yourself outside of it and just look at it from a technical standpoint. You don't have to be that passionate, because we can argue passion, right? Yeah. And that's when it gets messy. But most people, I tell people, you're not a fan of music, you're a fan of noise. And that's different. So stop talking to me about this album.
Well, it's hard to say art would be objective, right? Because if you were to say that, you'd have to say that there is an objective truth, and there is definitively good art. And I think that the beautiful thing about art is that that's not the case. Like, you could find whatever you want in it, and we can all find whatever we want in it, and there could be something I think is fucking the worst thing, and it doesn't deserve to exist, and for some reason that thing gives you purpose and you love it and it makes you happy, and you design your whole life around that thing. And who am I to say that I'm right and you're wrong? I just
you know who you are? A professional in this field that most of you guys aren't, and that is the difference. Yeah. And if you want me to respect your lifestyle, then you have to respect mine, right? I'm not going to go to a teacher or a vet and tell them that I understand animals to the same level. You know what I mean? There is an objective conversation.
Well, it's a humility, I think. It would be the humility of understanding that maybe I don't understand.
Well, that should just be adult logic. That's what I'm saying. We keep using these words.
But that's why it's so hard to be objective. That's my whole point. How could you be objective?
Logic. When I say logic, I want to clarify. I know that everything's not common to everybody else, but if you want, we're gonna tie back full circle. If you wanted
this guy,
if you really wanted to comprehend anything, you would stand outside of it, take your personal feel out of it.
Okay, yeah,
that's where it's objective.
Well, and even the things you like, you would want to look at it objectively and say, why do I like
things
this?
I like.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, okay.
I don't want to have convos with people about things I like. Why? It's what I like. I don't want to talk to you about it. You don't fuck with it the same way I do, unless I find someone who really, since you like Kendrick and other music, you and I could probably go in a deeper conversation. That's why mid-arguing my friend, I was like, you just don't fuck with Kendrick. It's fine. I know you're not listening to Kendrick because your argument, I said, give me bars from Chances. Give me the Chance, give me the range, because I've been listening to Chance since his mixtapes. If I can give you more Chance detail than you just like that album. It's fine. You like Starline. And then that's an objective conversation that now you made subjective.
Okay. And I think you could then extend that idea into all sorts of things. But I think the real truth is the people think with their emotions first before they apply ideas to anything. So that would be why, because people don't think objectively. They just don't naturally. Like I think and actually you could say that goes back to biology. It goes all the way back to, as an animal, you react instinctually. You know, what does a dog do? What does a cat do? What does an animal do in the wild? They don't respond and come up with reasons and say all these things. They react. And what you do as a human, you've evolved past these things. You react first, and then you come up with reasons. And you could even look at, like, they've done studies of like how fast people react. Like before your brain can comprehend what you're thinking, it's like your hand will react first, and then the signal is sent up to your brain. So it's your body reacts before your brain reacts, meaning it's all feeling. And then, you know, when it comes to like, now you're arguing about a fucking nuanced subject. Okay, well, what if this person is just they're just a Drake fanboy? What if they're just a Drake fanboy and we're talking about Kendrick versus Drake? They're not going to have anything to say except like, you know, oh man, come on, man, come on.
But there's so many levels of what you said, because now I'm going to basically prove its point with the we're arguing a nuanced point.
Yeah.
But I do have some counters. Everything you said technically didn't disprove logic.
No, it doesn't.
Like everything in the animal kingdom is based off of
where
system.
logic would start.
But what I'm saying is, the two things that can be true, yes, that's normal now, but I love that statement. Just because what's happening now is normal doesn't mean it's how it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
We train. I don't know what came first, the chicken or the egg. How we are now is definitely not how biologically we were made. We should all know that. You can't factually prove that. The amount of pieces that we're missing historically over time, the amount of manipulations that have been taught, they're literally studying science and health from a racial standpoint. They literally were training black people differently, like how they were assessing it. How they choose to do studies in psychology are based on who's funding it. So we're not even studying from an objective standpoint to understand the brain and the behavior. And then, you know, with the body and the mind, you know, depending on where you want to go spiritually, they're separate. Or they're connected. They're separately working in tandem. So registering it, your brain could have already registered sight and feeling, but your body has, you get what I'm saying? Like the mind extends elsewhere. So how are we acting? And I have a cat. My cat's human. He's smart as hell. He knows what he's doing, how he's acting. Is not much different than a human and a baby of how my cat reacts. Now, that could go in the nurturing, right? You can raise a child or an animal to be smarter than the normal one. But from a base level, all I did was help give my cat a loving home and room to grow, so we helped amplify his natural instincts,
right?
Which I argue would say is sharper than most humans. Remember, cats talk telepathy. They don't use words.
You know, it's funny. That's how I excuse my parents' lack of like overwhelming support. You know, like when I think of people like, oh, your parents like got you into sports and your parents did this and did that. Like my parents kind of ignored me for the most part. Like they liked me, but they weren't like all over me. They just kind of like had me in the house and they were just nice to me. And I feel like that made me who I am. And I'm kind of happy about that. You know what I mean? Like they just gave me just enough room to grow, like you just said. Because I don't think a lot of people have that. I think their parents usually go one of the other two ways. You pay too much attention, pay too little attention. My parents just kind of gave me just enough room, I feel like. They didn't like, if I liked something, they weren't all over me. Like, oh, you should do that. Oh, let's get you in classes. Oh, because I feel like that can almost fuck you up and make you think the world's like that. People aren't that supportive. That's not how it works.
But you know what? They are to the wrong things. And this is my hater. I'm team hater, guys. I will never stop being a hater. I don't care. I hate that we show so much love communally to those who don't care about art usually. If you look online, they can get people out in drones. Oh, I'm just doing something real quick. I'm just popping out real quick. Oh, you just want to have fun?
Yeah.
And you had 1,000-some people there versus like, you know, you and I worked a whole 2 years on an album. We brought an orchestra out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Michael Jackson's kids was on this album.
Yeah. But it's that universality. It's that commercial thing. Like, there's a story I heard once where it was Martin Scorsese, and it's the guy, I can't remember the actor's name now, but he was in Goodfellas. He's the guy who, I think it's not the one who says, it's the one who says, did I say something funny? Did I say something to amuse you?
Pesci?
Pesci. Yeah, it was Joe Pesci. And so he's talking about like when they were filming, I want to say it was Raging Bull. And there's a lot of curse words in the scene. And somebody comes, like a producer or somebody comes up to Scorsese and says like, hey, you know, there's a lot of cursing in this. Like, what do you think? Like, is that ever going to get shown on television? And Scorsese stops and he's starting to think about it, like, maybe it can't get shown on television. And then Joe Pesci says, like, you know, you're fucking Martin Scorsese. You trying to get your movies on television? What are you trying to get your movies on television for? And then Martin Scorsese goes like, oh yeah, what the fuck am I doing? I'm Martin Scorsese. What the fuck am I trying to get my movies on television for? And it's kind of what it is, right? It's like, yeah, those people can sell out and those people can get on TV and those people can do all that, but is that the audience you want? Do you want to foster just everybody and get every single person you can? Or do you want to have the real ones, the people who are going to stick with you? Because I feel like it's so much give and take, you know? You might be the guy who can just show up anywhere and just sell it out. But yeah, you just got a bunch of followers on TikTok that'll just show up to whatever you do. They're not like comedy fans, because they're like, that's a big thing with comedy clubs now. They can sell out a club on a Friday, and it's just some guy who's famous on TikTok. And what that eventually will do is ruin the status of the club. Because the casual fans who go to that club for comedy are going to get confused. They're going to keep seeing these like TikTok acts and these weird fans that aren't even comedy fans in the audience. And like, there's nothing wrong with having a niche social media thing. It's the fact that they're taking over these comedy venues on weekends. That's what's crazy. Because it's a weekend, it's a prime time, and you're giving that slot away to somebody who's going to sell it out, but they're not comedy. And so as the comedy club, are you curating comedy anymore? And that becomes a weird dance where it's like, yeah, it's commercially selling, but is that what we want? Is that what we want to foster? And what are you going to do? Like, I think you need thought leaders, people on the top who curate well and just have to not do that. That's the only way you stop that stuff. Or you produce your own show and you just don't do any of that. That's the way you stop that stuff, because you can't stop a venue from making a bad choice. You just can't do that. You know, you can call it a bad choice and you can say it on a podcast, but that's all you can do. You know what I mean?
He knows where I'm going. We're 3 topics. Don't let me forget. We're gonna wrap around.
Uno, dos, tres.
We're beefing with these venues. We're gonna break down hate venues. We're gonna go.
That's some good Ruse Radio content.
Oh yeah. Watch what's gonna happen.
Here goes 4 sponsorships.
I'm not even gonna say it. I don't care. I want to. Yeah, we'll get back. Venues.
All right. You want to like tell me what it is so I can try to keep track for you?
Venues. I want to go back to when you said. Shoot.
This is why we need notepads.
I know we need that.
This is why people do that. They have notepads and they write stuff down while they're talking. You really need that. Yeah. You need that for life. Just carry a notepad with you, dude.
Yo, when I worked at Amazon, I did that. They thought I was writing poetry. I'm like, you think I'm walking around Amazon writing poetry? Motherfucker.
I just want to remember what the fuck I'm here for.
Because I'm not here to do boxes. Like, I can't get my phone out.
I'm going to put the note on my phone, because what was one?
Venue. I'm going back to the topic of nurture versus nature, like the behavior thing. And dang, it was something else no, I forgot the third one.
All right, we'll find it. But just start with venue.
But I want to say just real quick, I hope that people, I really want to help teach and help promote getting out of survival mindset. That's why a lot of, when we're saying like what came first or what's normal, why do we act a certain way? Everybody is normally living in survival mode, which we're not, and even I was too when we last talked in the last year. I'm only just now trying to practice getting out of survival mode, because a lot of us don't realize how much that affects us. So that's why we can't think objective. It's not that we naturally, there's nothing bad about emotion. Even that's a misconception. Emotion is very intuitive, and there's logic to your emotion. There's a reason why we feel a certain way. Your body reacts a certain way to keep you safe. Everything that your body's designed for is to keep you living and going. That's very logical. Is you just feel it. There's a whole misconception of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
well, I really like Zen Buddhism, because when I read, it was a book called An Introduction to Zen Buddhism. That was kind of like where I read it. But it's a really good book. And it was funny because I'm reading it, I'm thinking, oh, this is just how I think about things already. And it's like what you just said. I think people, like what it teaches you is that you, as a human, to survive, that's what yin and yang is this versus that. And you learn to separate things to survive. It's me versus you. It's us versus them. And the true reality is the holistic circle of yin and yang together as one. That's what reality really is. And that's what Zen is, in my mind, is when you are within the moment itself and you are not feeling anything really, and you are just being. But it's getting out of that survival mindset and just being. That is what you have to do. And I think it's a gift. And I think people want to be around people like that, because we all want to be like that. We all want to escape that survival mindset.
And that segues into the third part that I forgot.
Oh, there we go.
I remember it. Nope, I just lost it. Damn. What were you talking about? People be around.
Survival.
Oh, okay. When we were talking about how some people can curate a lot of people, like normally the ones who don't care about as much, was kind of what you're talking about, right? You probably want to be around chill energy.
Yeah.
I do think us as professional artists, if you really want to be a professional artist, it is your goal to pay attention and notice that, so we can help train audiences how to be better. One thing that we started pushing with the Variance show, and we talk about, I tell the artists, most people do not know how to watch art. That is not the natural general society. You can't tell a homeless man why leather should cost more. He's cold. He's a comfort. You know what I mean? That doesn't make sense. Like, hey, I can't let you put this on, dog, because the fiber counts just don't make sense. You know what I mean? You got to lay on it a certain way, and you got to air dry. Nah, bro, I need help. So when we had dancers part of our show, I had to tell them, most people do not know how to watch dance. Almost more than comedy. Nobody understands the nuance of body control and technology. Like, so we actually had them give a history of Crump before they did it. Like, most don't know it's a spiritual dance. I don't know if you know.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
It stands for Kingdom Radically Uplifting Mighty Praise. Crump is a derivative.
I thought it was based on Krampus, the Russian Santa or whatever it is.
As hype as we get.
I think it's Krampus, actually.
Hey, yo, Krampus is terrifying, by the way.
Yeah, it's like he eats children or something. But anyway, I don't want to distract you.
I was going to say, but I will say that is a bad movie that I enjoy because the concept is terrifying.
Oh, yeah. The fact that that's really a story they tell children is nuts, right?
Because they lost in the end. That's just the whole thing. I like when America can make movies that aren't just happy endings. Like,
yes.
We need
more of those.
We need to learn that. So just kind of that
train audiences, huh?
Goes back to, look at that, boy. Look at that guy. And that's what we need to do. So I will say, when I say hater, I'm even rechanging that word. I don't see it as negative. Yeah. It is, if I'm super impassioned about this and I really care about the art, I'm paying attention to who's doing good in every space. And I want to be at Kendrick's level because I deserve to be at that level because the quality of art that I make deserves to be digested on a massive scale.
Yeah.
So even though I appreciate being a niche act, artist style, I see I'm the best. And the best knows how to make shit for mainstream.
That's why I look up to Kendrick so much, because he found a way to do that. And that seems impossible. He makes it seem easy, but what he's doing is impossible.
Man, just walking around, hands in pocket, just casually out-rapping everyone you've ever known historically. And what I hate is he's not rapping the best. He knows how to pull back. He could like go crazy on a whole song, but he's like, nah, it's too many bars. And I was telling my friend who was rapping, I'm like, you be out rapping, bro, dog. Every track is not for you to show me you can rap.
I've learned that I have to do that less. Yeah, like I have to reel it in, and it's like just back to the basics, just keep it simple. Because it's also like, what are people it's gonna resonate with? Like if I'm just listening to a song, like, you know, I don't need to hear like this fucking bars that are gonna twist my brain. And maybe this song's not meant for that. Maybe this song's just meant to make me, you know, I've learned to think of songs thematically. That's how I try to think about it. It's like to think of songs as a theme and try to write in the theme. What Kendrick does really well, and I don't have this type of writing style, but I've heard him say it, is like he has to have the whole song schemed out when he writes it. So he has to have like, he has to know where it's going to get to before he even starts, which to me kind of, that's hard to do. And that's usually what I'm not doing. Usually I'm doing the opposite, or I'm just kind of following the flow and finding it. And that's, you know, people have different processes, but it makes sense if you listen to Kendrick's music. Like it's very schematic a lot of the time. And that's like that structure thing too, right? Where it lends to a structure with his songs because it makes it feel like you're going from here to here to here to here to here, and by the end you went on this journey. J. Cole's really good at that too.
So, but you know, I also call him ABC rapper. You know what I mean? Like his vocal tone is harder than his actual bars. Does that make sense?
Oh my God, that's so much of it. You know, and that's what's another thing I love so much about him is people don't know how much that matters. They just think the voice is like just this bullshit thing that's just kind of in the background. Like your voice is the instrument. Like it's and what Kendrick does, and it's something I try to do, is like if I was in my rap voice, it's somewhere up in here more so than down here, right? Because that's
interesting.
It's like you're trying to get a saturation almost, like if it was palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy, the bombs are ready, rock bombs are ready, the bomb are ready. You see how that's so much different?
And you switch into a person.
And you push your voice a little bit. It's all about pushing your voice. So you have to put power into it and make it, give it power, like almost like a metal vocalist would do. Like if you were like screaming. And like a lot of rap vocalists, they're just not doing none of that shit. They're not doing
any of that. They're just basically mumbling.
Which
Kendrick will mumble, but if he mumbles, it's a choice. And that makes such a difference if it's a choice. And if you know, oh, he did this on this song, but this other song he did. And I think people don't give themselves enough credit, and also people want to be seen a certain way, so they'll try to start doing the same thing, and they don't branch out and try new things. And I just feel like, you could, like, the voice, especially if you're a vocalist, you can do so much with your voice.
I'm so glad you're... But these are the details I would like. I also want to turn myself into a nonprofit. I don't know if I told you about that.
No.
So what you're breaking down, you can even do a class there. I think you know enough about it,
especially your ability to come up with it on the spot and change it. I am trying, goes back to tying it in. One man could change the world, right? Mm-hmm. Even though I say I'm a hater, I'm not going to not just act on it. Whatever you might hear me critique or complain, I want to bring it to my community. So if I'm complaining that art is maybe being watered down, right? Or they're not paying attention the way they could be, that's because we're not giving them areas that they can come learn how to digest. They don't know what quality movies are. They just hear people saying it's trash. Yeah. And we come show you what a good script looks like, how a director can make a bad script good. Pacing, tonal, I think they might call us both. They would call you and I fast speakers, but I always tell people, no, it's a pacing thing. We just, like right now, I'm actually pausing. That's a difference. But if I just talk regular and just without taking pauses out, it sounds like I'm talking faster, but really I'm just not giving you digestive time period. And some of that can be a style choice. Like I grew up in theater and I trained in Shakespeare.
Yeah.
He writes in heartbeat, rhythmic tones. And I always told the director, I'm blackening this. I'm not talking this way. And most don't ever change Shakespeare. The one line I remember was, art thou fishified? You know what that means?
No.
You smell like pussy.
Oh. Art thou fishified?
Yeah, I'm like, hey, bro. I used to do little jokes like, yeah, aren't thou fishified? I used to fuck with my coworker. Be like, take 2 fingers. That's crazy, bro. And
that takes me back to the school bus in middle school. A kid walks up to you.
Hey, bro, smell this shit. It wasn't middle school. Can you imagine that? Yeah. Trying to get, and I give, as an older adult now, I give credit to my teacher trying to get a little kid to understand what art thou fishified. It's like, I need you to say it. I need you to say it differently. Like, what you trying to say, Doc? Come on, spit it out.
How do you direct that without saying?
So, you got to give credit to the kid. That's why I hate when people say they're just a kid. Nah, bro, we were smart as hell.
Yeah,
The things, the movies.
You know what movie I really like? Magnolia. Have you ever seen that movie?
Is that Tom Cruise?
Paul Thomas Anderson's got Tom Cruise in it. Tom Cruise is in it. He's that's speaking of pussy, right? He basically plays Andrew Tate in the past. He's like, respect the cunt. That's what he says in the movie.
I've seen YouTube breakdowns on it, but I haven't seen the movie.
It's such a good movie. Okay. But one of the motifs in the movie, like the ideas, the running threads, is that kids know more. Like the kids have it more figured out than the adults, and the movie does it so well. And it's one of the few movies I've seen where it really just kind of, like, the truth of that resonates in a way that I don't see a lot of films nail. Because I think that religiously. I think we train kids not to believe in themselves.
Yes.
And that's like, because we as adults have had the life beaten out of us. And so we try to teach kids that that's the way the world is. Yes. And that's like, I think a lot of being enlightened is just being childlike and having that childlike wonder. And it's a lot of people just lose that. And then they think you're supposed to tell other people that. And then that's really just, you're bitter because you don't have any wonder anymore.
Does this tie into our whole conversation? Being objective.
Wow. I feel like your brain just goes like this the whole time. Oh my God!
Connectivity, right? Structure the song before you say it.
Yeah.
Being Zen is understanding everything is connected.
Yep.
Doesn't matter which side you lean into, right? I like to teach objectivity because subjectivity could be criticizing you based on my pain and my view of experiences. I want you to understand what we're both looking at so you can truly have your own perspective on it.
And I like to think that we need to bring exclusivity back, like put power back in exclusivity rather than and that is to be truly inclusive, is to be exclusive, meaning we need to be unique in order to be together, and to we need to allow people to have opinionated opinions and be say, oh, I don't like this thing, and foster that type of individualism in one another rather than try to foster the opposite. But I think that just becomes a societal thing. It goes all the way out. Yeah, because, and I think what's so frustrating to me is the way that social media has created this idea that you are meant to find a thing and then recreate it over and over. A thing I see comedians keep on doing is they just react to content, and that's fine. You know, I get it. You're getting views and it's helping you get followers, but what you're doing is you're dumbing down your everything, and you don't realize you're doing that, but that's what you're doing, because you're allowing yourself to become everything else, and now you're not you anymore. Because you aren't doing you. Even if, like, the only way I would do that type of content is if I rapped, you know what I'm saying? Because I think that'd be unique. It'd be like, oh, I'm going to show you a video that's on social media, and then I'll turn it into a rap, like, describing the video. Because who else would do that? Nobody. But what most of these videos are is just, it's literally the video. And whenever I see, like, if it's not somebody I know, but, like, especially because I see it on Facebook a lot, I'll watch the whole video, and then it'll just be this dude staring at his camera like this, and I'll be like, motherfucker, and I'll scroll away, right? Because he tricked me. He tricked me into watching his video. And his reaction is never anything. It's always like, damn, he really walked like that? Why he walk like that, though? His leg don't even, he got socks on that don't even fit him. And that's the video. That's the whole thing. And it's like got thousands of comments, it's got millions of views, and he didn't do anything. He just watched a video and said two things, but it gets some views, and in his mind he's rationalizing like, oh, but it's going to feed into the other stuff I do. And that's how people corrupt themselves, because they just do that over and over, and eventually that you are your enemy. You have become Superman, Lex Luthor.
You know what this ties back into?
Tell me.
They only
the venues.
We're gonna get. Oh, my hate for the venues is forever. So we're not ending this conversation without us breaking that down. But it goes back to when I said how they care about the casual fans more than the artists. So we're giving more views to the people reposting or restructuring versus having a fandom over original creators.
Yeah.
And I know you're a conspiracy theorist too. That is a part of, and this will tie into my hate for venues. Those who seek to have control, because they know that artists have the real control. If we actually knew business, they'd be out of business. So to keep that, you got to kill individualism. You have to kill people's comprehension to digesting art. You got to kill comprehension in itself. Kill originality. Make sure, and a lot of us don't know, the platforms are taking our original ideas. You really shouldn't give that much IP to platforms. The platforms are supposed to exist as transforming platforms, but they're giving out deals and money because they're literally asking to buy your soul, so you never leave. You never leave home. And so us as fans, that's why you have to be a better fan. Like, I complain so much, like, why are you driving an hour away when there is at least 30 shows within 10 minutes from you, 15? And they're like, well, why I gotta go? I'm like, because at some point, by the time you have kids, it might not even take that long. Your neighborhood's probably being broken down, gentrified, or turned to a hood, which happened to my mom. They built a casino on the edge of her county and the next one, so they can benefit from the taxes of both. They've closed down schools in a lot of the areas, so you have to bus to one. They're leaving the buildings open, because a lot of people own the land, want to leave open, abandoned buildings open, so the property value goes down. We're all looking to move out and sell our houses. Now, once it's at a cheaper price, the people who own the land are going to now buy the lands, build it up, sell it to the next people. Now you just lost your home.
And you think fostering community and all that would counteract that?
Yeah. Actually reinvest. Like, I ain't gonna lie to you, driving your way, I hate it, because I'm Team Southside forever. I hate everything up north, because why are people choosing to live on top of each other when this land in Illinois is country-based? There are so many unbuilt-on products. Like, there's so many things I could have seen going your way. And I didn't start seeing things until I actually got 30 minutes from where I live. You know what I mean? I'm like, this should be killing me.
And that goes, for me, the opposite way, right? You know, if I go to the south side or the west side, it's the same thing. Yeah. It's like, oh, there's a whole different world that I just wouldn't even see if I don't stray too far.
You know what I mean?
Chicago's huge.
So my homie's here from Atlanta, and every time we drive, I'm pointing out to look at the architecture change. I'm showing him, like, he's like, where we at now? I'm like, and in Atlanta, everything's about 30 minutes away. So for them, there is a change in 30 minutes, but I'm like, you know, and you're probably about the farthest he's went from my area so far. And he was like, that's when his eyes started going like, wow, look at that skyline. Look at that. I said, stop it, you tourists. Like, when people say Chicago is nice, they're only talking about 15 minutes of tourist space. You're not coming. We got nice shit in our area. We have more vegan spots out south than what most people know. Like, it's just, they just don't know where the health stuff is. And and this is coming from a guy who produces up north, so I'm a hypocrite. But I had to stop producing out south just so we can get the attention of those up north. There were literally people who were telling me, I'm not coming past Alsip. That's as far south as I'll go.
And the comedy community is segregated. Like, I've paved a lot of headway, however I'm trying to say it. I've gotten a lot of people from the north side. I've gotten some people from the south side. Like if you were to like look at my episode list, like I've had a lot of guests in here, but actually not too many big south side comics. Like I would say probably maybe 10 to 20 because it's not a whole bunch. Whereas like the other 100, 150 are north side comics just because it's so segregated. And guess where I am? The north side. Because it's like, it's who you see at Mike's. It's who's in your circle and then naturally branching out from that. Like that's how I've done it. And maybe if I went to like really where my south side journey begins is when I went to Reggie's once because Reggie's is the meeting ground in between the south side and the north side. Where everybody's willing to go. Yeah. That's literally what it is. I can
still run to a train and I can see lights. That's when it's not too dark.
By the way, Saturdays, Reggie's got an open mic, folks.
Oh, yeah.
So
the midnight spot, right?
Yep, midnight. Yeah, right. And it's after, also I don't know which Saturday, but they do Ha to Hell there. That's Tina Yukana's show.
And all that. Now that does segue us back to venues.
But that's, point being, like, you have to branch out and look for people in the other communities if you even want to find them. If you want
to see the change.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because they'll be popular on the south side or the north. You didn't even know about them, and they're big.
So that's what I hate, and I refuse to accept. It goes back to changing your community. I don't like the fact that you will never see the type of people in my lineups anywhere else in the state. Like, to me, it's a bragging point, but it's not. Because why the fuck aren't y'all side that? So that why is it?
What do you
not
think
more
that
diverse?
is? What's the problem?
Kind of go back to our venues. People don't know how to produce, but y'all ain't ready to hear
No,
that
I agree with
conversation.
you. I agree. I think it's a marketing problem. I think Chicago needs to find a way to market itself better, and that's up to producers, and that's up to us as like, and it's up to us, and that's up to everybody else. You know what I mean? Like because people always say, why is it that there's no industry in Chicago? Why do you have to go to New York or LA? Because no one's making an industry in Chicago. No one has the foresight to understand that you must start from scratch. And you have to start right now, and you can't just sit here and scratch your head and go, where's the industry? You have to do something like this, like where you build a community. You have to start from nothing and make an actual community because it's not going to come to you, and people are just going to keep leaving, and that's how it's going to keep happening.
They always leave.
Yeah. And it's like you're right. There is a ceiling in Chicago. You have to raise the ceiling. If you really think that's the problem, you got to raise the whole fucking ceiling. You have to provide opportunities to people in Chicago, and you have to make it possible for us to put a spotlight on Chicago. Like the one show that's produced that I think does it right is Roast Battle, just because they actually put all the episodes out. They actually have a different lineup. They at least know how to market a comedy show and put it out somewhere. Now, it looks like you might have beef with Roast Battle, just the way you look.
I told you the last part. I told you. You saw that? I
can tell just by the way he looked.
Did you hear what you just said?
Tell me.
Everybody, let me know if you see diversity on Roast Battle, please. And let me see what are they promoting. And they also won Best Indie Show, which is fucking insane.
Yeah.
Indie Show.
Where did they win that? I don't know.
The Comedy Gazelle. Not that.
Oh, they did win? I couldn't remember.
And I'm trying to not drop names because when I make critiques, it's not really about the specific shows or producers. It's about Chicago sucks. The society of art sucks. And this will all tie back into the venue. Team hater. But remember, I'm now more confident.
You'd be
so
surprised
I can talk
how many Chicago comedians share that opinion, by the way.
We all hate Chicago.
They hate it here.
Only fan. If you like Chicago, you're a tourist. Tell me you're not from here. I love Chicago.
Mm-hmm. I like it, but I'm my mother. I have my mother's heart, so.
See, if you like Chicago, you still believe in hope and fairy tales. It's pink outside and it's raining. Again,
I'm still that child we were talking about earlier that didn't have the life beaten out of them. That's me.
You know what? Though I was beat as a kid, this does not affect objectively.
Maybe. How would you know?
I'm trying to figure out how to say this because I don't want to cause beef unintentionally because I would say this to their face.
Okay,
also.
Yeah.
I think it's a mixture of they don't care. They're niche and they don't actually care they don't care what we're doing. They think they're the standard and not even
people have egos.
I was about to say they are very egotistical.
Yes.
And off camera we can point them out, but
yeah, we'll go name by name by name.
But I don't think the ego is bad on behalf of them. However, they're not growing the scene. So what they do is they have 10% diversity, which is what everybody does. So when you see new comics battle or here and there, great. Roast Battle's not growing their career. They're not reaching out to them, not taking them on the road. They're not connecting them to, hey, why don't you get a guest spot here on the feature? They're not helping them break down the talent. They grab their 5 they like, and you'll see the same features throughout. And if you see me repeat, it's because the talent makes sense. I have a theme show. So if you're doing a stand-up show, you don't have a fucking theme. There's no reason why you're using the same people. You don't care about themes, production, or value. You just make shows to be seen, which most stand-up comics do. They produce so they can headline eventually. So why aren't you cultivating your community? Because it takes nothing to get a 10 or 5 minute spot.
Yeah.
Me, you got to rehearse. You got to practice. I need you to know a little bit of lines, low-key. You got to learn how to play games. That show everybody can't do. You got to have a style for that. But I'm still trying to create shows that my themes can eventually branch. I've already told you about that, and I'm going to own up on that. My show's getting more musical, and that's how you get in. I just did my first versus battle for my birthday show. I put 2 singers against each other, and they threw a beat on, and they both had to try to figure out verses from what people knew. You had like 10 seconds to catch the beat, and you got to figure out who can write it 30 seconds long. And like with the dancers, I let them be interactive for the first time and teach the crowd. They brought people on stage and brought it. This is a show that can cultivate and grow with artists. Like I said, I don't host my shows anymore. I'm training other hosts to know how to do similar to my style, but not beat me, and then I was arguing with the comedian when he was like, but Marlon, you're not promoting you're promoting Variance. I'm like, how does that make sense? That's how they don't understand branding. Variance only sells out because Marlon has a style. And because my style is so individual, which we talked about before, Variance is built off of my style because no one does stand-up like me, which is what we talked about before. No one performs like me. So when you put all this together, it's the reason why Chicago's so segmented. A lot of this conversation that you and I were talking about, I got anger, I'm getting passionate because I care about the community, the art. You talk to any venue owner, any producer, they don't give a fuck about nothing. I just want people to be honest, which goes back to our conversation earlier.
Well, they give a fuck about selling tickets that night. That's what they give a fuck about.
That one night.
Yeah.
But my friend from Atlanta, I told him, I'm glad you came to my birthday show because you're going to see true Chicago. If you come to my show, because I produce at indie spots, holes in the walls. I don't go to your main spot. So if people came out to my show, they travel from the west suburbs. They travel from the south side, the east, the west, because I have multiple jobs, work for a nonprofit. So you're actually seeing the community come out. Every show I produce is somebody's first comedy show. People have brought their kids out. Someone's brought their grandparents out. Like, I love that. And a nonprofit told me, you don't produce a comedy show. You haven't realized what you're doing? You're actually building community. You need to restructure and restate what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I think of that they're right, and I try to think of things like that anyways. Like, I think of this as this bigger than what it is. Every show I do is bigger than what it is. Like, really, when I started doing interviews is when I realized that, because I realized it's so much bigger than me, and if I allow that to become a part of it, it will then elevate everything else I do, right? Like, if everything is based around that idea. Like, I had a tape I did. Now, I have to do Constellations Volume 2 one day because it was a running thread that I was going to do since my name's Ruse. So it'd be like each album would start with the word con. So there's like con artist. It was, I can't remember the first one I did, but because there was one that came out. Continue was going to be the next one. Continue, I thought would have been a good one. But let me look at what it's called here on. I can't believe I'm forgetting.
Con artist, consequence, conflict.
Consequence is good. Consequence, because you do run out. That's the problem. You run out pretty quick. But
how many C words?
The one I did release was called. It's not even. It's Con Artist. That is the one. Okay. So it's Con Artist, and then it was Constellations. So Con Artist, I really like that. To me, that's genius. Like Con Artist, Ruse. Oh, yes. Dude. Yeah. But Constellations, the idea is the stars are coming together to form a bigger picture. And so every single song on that album was going to be a feature. And that's the whole idea, is that it's always the stars coming together to form a bigger picture. And we as people do that all the time. Everything is the stars coming together to form a bigger picture, right? And we can form a constellation as people. If we form a community, we will become something bigger than ourselves. And I really like the metaphor of that, the image of that, because I think that's what's happening. And I think it happens without you even realizing it's happening, like community forms in a way where if you just believe in the idea of it and that it will happen, then before you know it, there's like, you'll have that show and 30 people show up.
One man can change the world.
One man can change the world.
You've got to want it. Is that the theme of this? You've got to want it.
It starts with the idea. And that's why I think, like, people will say that, what's it called when you have a goal and you visualize it and I'm forgetting the thing that it's called, but it's like this. It's a wishy-washy idea where if I just have an idea and I place it in my mind and then I visualize it every morning and I always say that it's going to happen,
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, but whatever, I'm describing it pretty well. So if that happens, you're doing that every day, maybe that doesn't work, and maybe you might fail. Manifest. If you manifest it, yeah, maybe manifestation isn't real. But the people who will succeed, guess what? Most of the time they manifested it like every single time. So yeah, you might fail, but you also might succeed, and you might as well try, because if you don't manifest, the likelihood of you failing is like fucking 99%. Like people who succeed don't go, yeah, I just stumbled into success. I don't know what. When do you hear that story?
Rappers say that. I hate when
and they're
rappers
lying.
say,
And they're lying.
Oh, I just realized I want to
They
do
want to
it.
sound cool.
Yeah.
Never does that happen. And also community. The other thing you'll always see if you listen to people who are successful is, guess what? There was a big community of people that surrounded them that they built and fostered, and almost always, rappers especially, you'll see like they travel in groups. It's almost always like 5 rappers got big together, or he was with this one producer who happened to know so-and-so, and he ended up in the studio.
You need them to believe in you, like.
Yeah, and you need to believe in yourself to get them to believe in you, so it starts with that. Like it all starts with that. And I think that people, that's why I said earlier, like I just think people don't have self-discipline, they don't believe in themselves. I think if you want to say what's wrong with the world, you want to chalk it up to anything, it's like, it's people just don't have direction, and you kind of just have to be nice and try to show them what it is, because it's okay. Not like it's actually, you don't have direction a lot of the time. I don't have direction a lot of the time. It just depends on what facet of life we're talking about. And so it's whatever. And we all have ups and downs, but I just feel like it's to me, if I wanted to explain like why have things gotten worse? Why are these venues like this? Why is the movie industry ass? Why does everything suck? Well, it probably is because no one really cares, because no one even knows what they're doing. And so maybe just give them an example of someone who knows what they're doing, because
Were you in my head? Because that's what I'm trying to say about the venues without ruining your possible sponsorships. None of them know what they're doing.
And you see how I'm able to say it in such a politically correct way? I don't know how I figured out how to walk the line like this. I'd be a good politician,
Okay, now to tie it back in, to make it niche, I've also decided a while ago that in some of those regards, I don't care to.
Yeah.
Because business is objective.
Yeah.
And you can't beat me on that. And like you can't beat the venues on. So like,
well, and if you want to build a community, you got to build a community. You can't just say that. You have to do it,
But the venues aren't trying to, and that's my issue. If you look at a venue, go to the owner. Ask me, how many times have you seen them? What is do you know their purpose for why they do it? I don't want to call, who cares if I go back? The Laugh Factory people, they don't know the comedians in the scene. They don't actually go to mics. They don't see them. They don't have vets and scouts, right?
Yeah.
And it's not a shout just to them. Zany doesn't either. Rosemont. Once they get to such a big point, they forget how they got there.
Yep.
Who are the pillars that started you there to make
And
it
then you
grow?
have that gatekeeping conversation.
Yes.
And then you have comics who get upset and they're trying to figure out why they don't get booked, and they'll say it's gatekept. And I think there's a truth to that. And it would probably extend to everywhere. Honestly, everywhere is probably more gatekept than you realize.
Yeah.
And you just have to fight back against that. But that's just the industry. The shadowy industry will always be gatekept. That's how it works.
Though? We need to talk about the technicals. Like, so our issue is we lost our theater venue after selling out during a snowstorm and outselling before a celebrity did in a bigger spot. And that venue refused to give us a bigger spot because name value. Namesake what we're talking about, right? And I also totally understand, I'm a part of the issue. My show is a production that is too big for a comedy venue. You can't, and a lot of comedy venues are double stacking. A lot of times because of the economy. So I totally understand from their part. When you hear me vent about the venues, I do want to be political, right? I totally understand their business perspective. Mm-hmm. No one's really...
And that's why I tried to focus on just the quality of the art. Like, to me, that's why...
That's not enough.
No?
Because we're going to win because we're beating them in business. I'm taking my business elsewhere, and I'll go set up mom and pop shop down the street from you and show you why you as a theater, you should have invested in us.
Yeah.
We made y'all cool, and I'm going to show you how we can make it cool at every other spot. And that's not egotistical. I started counting numbers. I look at how they pop after we go somewhere. I look at how many people are coming there. You already know. Surgeon had black people till we came there. Stop playing with me. Ain't nobody of color going there if we ain't there. You know how many black people were like, I didn't even know this was a place. And, it's bad enough we're in the back hole in the wall, but we ain't going to talk about,
That is so funny.
So, matter of fact, do we do it? I don't care. Den Theater, we lost that spot. And I forever...
Well, that's who you're talking about, yeah.
I'll never produce there again just because of, And I also blame myself. I was a third party. I didn't directly book it. I let somebody else speak on behalf. So that's the whole thing with it. And they did like it was a setup issue that happened. Like a lot of venues are double booking. So they give me like 30, 20 minutes to do shows. And I'm talking to my homies who do real productions. They're like, the fuck, how does that make sense? Who gives that amount of time? You need setup. Every time we've done one of these venues, we've had a technical issue. My birthday show Saturday, we needed extension cords. They didn't have other cords. But we always get hit with this shit because basic ass stand-up shows need one mic and a spotlight. Who gives a fuck about the rest? I got videographers, I got photographers, I got a DJ over there. My music guys need sound check. I need 3 chord options. I need mics. I am the problem to basic, which I understand. But they're looking at a money value when I'm like, I'm counting percents. I've been selling out consecutively 60 to 70 some people, and I got the math. At least on a slow night, 30 person, Surge is making 900 to 1,000. I've never made thousands on my show or so, but they've been critiquing us harder and harder. Every venue is.
Oh, you said Surge, you mean Den, the Den Theater?
No, I'm bouncing because I produce at both.
Okay.
I used to. I'm leaving both to another venue, which you got to take a chance on yourself. But because of that, I've been counting the numbers, and that's how artists fight back. I'm like, nah, I did a whole 8-9 page pitch deck, and you got to start valuing it. It's more than art at that point. I'm bringing people in. They actually took seats away so we couldn't overpack Surge.
Yeah.
No one's packed out Surge more than me. We've had probably 70 people a Saturday or so, and I understand it's a fire hazard, but you're also overbooking the weekend. I can't, the type of...
Because Surge does that too.
Yeah.
Double book.
It's double book. It's happened multiple times.
Well, they book 2 hours back to back, like one at 7, one at 9.
How's that fucking make...
Yeah, and he's just trying to make... I mean, I get it. I understand why he's doing it. He's trying to make as much money as he can, but it's the logistics of it. Yeah, because I was there just recently. It was a sold-out show. It was for my friends. It's right behind you, the poster for Loads, and it was awesome. It went awesome. It was really nice. I did a Q&A. That's my first time ever running a Q&A. And folks, if you ever want me to do any press, all right, Ruse has his press pass. It's official. Hey. But it went great. Show went great. Sold out. And afterwards, I see my buddy Stephen Black, friend of the show. He's been on here 3 times. So I see him, and he's kind of like peeking in. He comes over to me, and I say, "Oh, like, what? You just hanging out at Surge?" He's like, "No, my show's starting in about 10 minutes. And you know when everybody's gonna be out of here." And it's like,
every show.
What are you gonna do? Are you gonna kick everybody, like rush everybody out of the room because you can? But even then, what's he gonna do? Now he has to set everything up, and he's got to like. What if he has more to do than just plug in a microphone and do a sound check? What if he has to, like you said, photographers, videographers, maybe like tell you got dancers. Okay, you guys, we're gonna go. You have to direct everybody, tell everybody how it's gonna work. Maybe you stand over there, you stand over there. Like you might need an extra hour for something like that, and so it's kind of just unrealistic to book. And like,
but they don't just do it either.
Yeah.
Jen does it now too.
Yeah. I'll go back to your point. Like, it's important to say it is good to look at these things objectively. Like, it's not a personal thing to say, "Oh, so and so books this wrong. Oh, this is booked badly." And if you take that personally, you're looking at it the wrong way. Because I don't think that's. I don't. But I think people are getting it wrong because it's not about personal issues. It's not about egos. It's not about me versus you. It's about we want the best community. We want the best shows. We want the best thing for audiences.
Who's we? Because the venues don't want that.
But that's my point, is that like if you are fighting for the people who want the best shows, then that's what you're fighting for. It's not about me versus you. And if you think it's about me versus you...
Oh, you're talking about amongst us.
Well, I'm saying like if somebody were to hear this, like somebody who books at Den Theater, somebody who books at Surge, or
don't care
somebody who runs these places.
You do.
But what I'm saying is
people
get all lost in drama. People want to turn it into drama and clickbait. And, oh, can you believe what so-and-so said about so-and-so? It's not even about that. It's about having a good show and making a good thing for people.
Whoa, no, I want to hear that. Because I'm a businessman. I don't want to get trapped. I'm not like these other artists.
Yeah.
We ain't the same. I want to like, and this is very important, artists, and that includes you too. You fucking produce.
Yeah.
Know your value. Study the statistics. Look at what the traffic you're bringing, the production design you're doing, how much they're not matching.
Right.
What am I renting out for, and what am I getting?
Yeah.
Because you're supposed to get a designated waiter to that back room. That's never been consistent. Or that a lot of times they're understaffed.
They don't give you a door person either.
They don't have a door person. They're understaffed, and they still want you to follow their exact rules and clean up afterwards. In what world does that make sense? But we accept it because they're cheap. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Just take note of that, right? Den has a name. It looks nice as a theater. However, they never staff the bar upstairs. They make us and our audience that we've sold out multiple times walk upstairs more than one flight. It's a turning flight of stairs into a very beautiful, lovely space that sometimes the air conditioning isn't even kept up or so. You got to pay for the sound person. If you need assistance, that's why we had a whole technical issue, which we know about, and we got punished for that, and I understand that. Even the green room is on the 3rd, 4th floor. Everything built in this place is not designed for, but the venue sees itself as bigger than the art. Which, don't get me wrong, some art, right? Like, the stadium that Jay-Z's doing, right? That's, I forgot what that's called. But at some point, we need to know our value and what we're really buying into.
Yeah.
Are you buying into the space, or are you buying into the community and what it can go with? So from a good business standpoint, at some point, venues have to decide who are they partnering with. Oftentimes, it's not people from the South Side. As I said, it is personal. It's not a blackface, because I can't statistically understand, and you can get me wrong with it, what show has grown consistently as far as ours for 3 to 4 years with a diverse fan base. They call us a black show, but my audience says otherwise. Who comes out? My videos, my productions. Now, I also can't grow and get better as a producer and all the flaws that I have in the techniques if you got to extend your hand to assist. If you were bigger than me, bigger production company, all right, Marlon, I see what you're doing. There's a bunch of holes in here, but I like what you're doing. Can we combine together to grow? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sir, even the waiters were telling us at Surge, why is Variance not playing on TVs every other couple hours or so? You guys have been producing here consistently for 3 years. You brought the most people in. At some point, if you want me to do an early show, because my people show up late, I'll do the late show, and y'all push the early show. You're going to make more money than me anyways. And me producing more shows makes me a better producer. I have to get tighter. Give me a door person. Give me a sound person. Y'all get some photographers, get some video. I'm paying for all of it, and you're restricting me. So it's like, it's not a personal thing. It's a business breakdown. We have never got the bang for our buck. And end of the day, my show's fucking fire. I want to hear shit from you. I outdo whatever's on your 300-seater. It's a fact. You got a good headliner. I have a good show. We're not the same. And I want artists to talk their shit. I tell my hosts, bro, you're different. You're not like the rest of them. I don't need a comedian hosting my show. They're not as cool as you. Look how you dress. You stand out before you even speak. That's important from a branding standpoint. We look cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, or do you want to clean it up?
No, I like it. It reminds me of the first time we talked, and you said that you were told you have Kanye energy.
I knew he was gonna say that. And I'm wearing the bomber. Disney, we don't sound the same. But it is important.
I like it because I agree with that mentality. I just am so annoyed with people who don't have a standard and people who don't want things to be better. It drives me insane because what do you want? Like, do you want a better, like, that's why I say it about, like, we need to do it, because it's so frustrating to me. People will sit there and they'll say the problems, but they don't actually have a game plan. They don't have a thing that they want to do or a way that they want to make things better. They just want to complain. They just want to say things are bad. Yeah. And it's like, I get it. Yeah, that's fun. You know, it's a good, popping the cap off, get a little release. But don't you want a better world? And doesn't it take agency and intention to change the world? And if you want to, like, I don't know, and maybe that's because I'm a leader, because I've learned that I have like a leader-like mentality, and that's why I have to come to peace with these things and understand if I am a leader, that means other people aren't. Because it's frustrating, because you want the best from people, and people just ain't gonna do it, and they're not gonna do it, and you can't trust them, and you can't rely on them, and it's so frustrating because you think, oh, people want the best thing. People want good stuff. They want things to be good. And then you realize, no,
they don't.
They don't. They just want to survive and get through the day. And hopefully have another day tomorrow, and hopefully do the same thing tomorrow. But they don't actually want it to get better. They don't actually have any intention of improving the present reality they are within.
That's so funny.
It's just like, once you realize once you have that high emotional intelligence, talking full circle, baby. Once you have that high EQ.
I'm about to say EQ. Get out of my head, boy.
Starts to fuck you up. Because then you start looking around at the world and going, oh, damn. Like, oh, damn, I guess it's up to me.
It's up to you. One man.
Yeah, one man could change the world, but that EQ fucks you up, baby. That's a lot of low end.
Sexually speaking.
Yeah. Hey, I like that low end. I'm more of a low end guy more than a high end guy, if I'm gonna be honest.
Did that tie in or make?
I think
sense?
we did it. I think we just the fact that we got back to EQ is really impressive to me, because that really was the very beginning. I love when that happens. I love when it goes real full. So I think we did that the first time too.
Yeah.
Where like we hit the end and we're like, yeah, we just finished, didn't we? Yeah.
I just don't like talking, and anybody who works with me know behind the scenes. I'm like, wait. I know you gotta go. You got kids. You gotta talk to your wife. I need to finish this point. Okay.
Yeah, well, that's why I've learned to commodify my talking, is because, it's actually an excuse for me to do what I do on the phone. I can talk to somebody on the phone for 3 hours, believe me. But with this, I've learned to give it purpose. This gives it a reason to exist. Whereas if it's just me and my homie, it's like, all right, man, I'm going to go do something now. We just talked about fucking Star Wars for 2 minutes or 20 minutes. And then we talked about like, The Godfather for 40 minutes. And then we talked about my eating habits for the next 30, and then we talked about how I feel about politics for the next 20, and then we talked shit about so and so for the next hour and 20 minutes. Actually, we talked shit about so and so for a long time. Like, that's how my conversation. It's a lot of meandering. I feel like our minds are similar, and that's actually why we mesh well.
Able to do it.
Yeah, because you and I somehow rein each other in this weird way, where we're both off the rails, but somehow we both we get there.
It's the rapper background.
Yeah.
Literally.
But I mean, is there anything you wanted to make sure to touch on? I mean, at least before you go, we'll say you just did the Variance show at Surge. You kind of talked a lot about those shows, but at least tell people like what those shows are, and you're going to switch venues. So, I mean, obviously, maybe what they can expect from that. This comes out about a month from now. So I guess I'll just say all the stuff we do at the end. You already know. One, the show's for 3 to 5 year olds. It's for the little kids. So the kids watching at home, they're going to need some advice at the end, and you're going to give them advice for the children. And I don't know what it is. It's within you. You got it in you. You're going to give it to them. And also the social medias where they can find you. Like I said, the show, the info about the show, and where they can sit in the crowd and see your beautiful face. Give them all that info. The floor is yours.
Pressure. My name is Marlon Hue. I produce the show Variance Network. It's the same tag everywhere, Instagram, Facebook, variancenetwork.com as well. We just ended our 3-year residency at Surge Billiards and Den Theater, and we are now moving to our first large venue. It's Pressure. We need the whole community.
Fuck you. You're cool. Fuck you. I'm out.
No, big energy. Big energy. I'm not going to say fuck you yet, but the first time I hit 100 people, which is our goal, May 30th, we bring our show to Revel Supper Club in Countryside, Illinois. Our goal is 100 people. We want to change the game. It is a music venue, and they said pretty much once we hit that goal, we can move upstairs. That's a 215-seater music venue.
Yeah.
We are trying to make this a real community event.
Bigger than comedy.
Listen. And we also will have every other month residency at Lemon Chicago, so we can keep the city roots. Variance Network is a comedy role play experience. It's not like anything else. It's the only show where the audience has a say-so in it. I don't know if I showed you that. It's now D&D, basically.
Well, you were kind of getting there last time we talked, I think.
Finally started.
I think that was when you planted the seeds, is when we talked last time, is when you had just started to do that. Yeah.
And because the way that our minds work.
Because I think you were talking about playing games and involving the audience in the games, and I think that's where you were at that point in time.
Now we're playing characters in theater roles, because, again, I know people like him, and I'm like, how do I train my audience to accept the type of ping-pong brain that I have? In my brain, I want to rap. Okay, 10 minutes later, I want to tell jokes. 10 minutes later, I want to dance. So if we're playing characters in theatrical roles, now it's not random or weird that Ruse might come out and be like, 2 + 3 is 4. Da, 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 da. And that allows us a chance to grow. And from a business standpoint, it allows any venue to give us a weekend show. That's my goal. I want to keep platforming as many artists as possible. And we need more space for that. We need more opportunities so we can expose. And also, people are paying money to come out. I want you to have a good time. If you're getting a babysitter and you want to come out 2 days in a row, you can go to a Variance show, because I promise it will not be the same show. It's impossible. It's the audience decides. It's the only show like it in the city, possibly the country.
All right. Beautiful. The only show with such variance. 2 + 2 = 4. Fuck you and you, your mom's a whore. And with that being said,
Ruse Radio. How the fuck did you hold that?
clocking out. Double down, competition couldn't help him to rock. Missed the whole